the bench. Here's Jordan's shot that will not fall, and Detroit with a chance to tie. Isaiah Thomas brings it up. B.J. Armstrong guards him. Michael Jordan will draw Vinnie Johnson. Ball
to the backboard pretty well, and particularly when he posts up and the ball goes away from him.
Now, when he came in last weekend, it surprised a lot of folks, and Bailey said, hey, I didn't like what I was getting out of my center position. There's the tying basket. And Mark Aguirre gets his first 2 of the ball game. Surprised to see him this early in Game 7?
Well, he is a big body, as I say. He will give Lambert and Edwards a rest, and that's primarily what he's in for, to spell them. Hopefully his team will stay within striking distance or maybe bump up the lead a little bit.
Horace Grant had that go-ahead basket. Now Johnson, Isaiah Thomas. Thomas 1 of 4. They go to a 5.
Well, you got the master and you got the rookie. And Isaiah Thomas is backing B.J. Armstrong down. Armstrong giving up a lot of room. That's helping Isaiah's shooting confidence.
Isaiah Thomas has 6 rebounds now. 21 all. Pippen. Six of the first quarter.
Michael Jordan.
He's got 8 points now.
Well, the Bulls are doing a nice job. Vinnie Johnson was told to stick with Michael Jordan, and they're bumping him off nicely with picks.
That's the first on B.J. Armstrong. And vocal instructions coming from the bench in the form of Phil Jackson. Armstrong gets back with him. They look inside. Bedford was posting up. Thomas feels like he's got it going now, but he misses that shot, and Pippen clears the rebound. Rebounds now 15-17. Chicago has the edge.
Well, that was a lost opportunity, but what's happening is with Bedford in there, he's not an offensive threat.
He is 9th year. Michael Jordan, no question about who leads that team. That pass almost thrown away, and Mark Aguirre. Whoa, Aguirre did not touch it. O'Donnell and Strum, and the call is overruled by Earl Strum. Seniority has its rights.
And certainly Earl may have been in the better position, but he's not afraid to make his presence known.
Jake O'Donnell had initially said Chicago ball. Strum said no, Aguirre touched it. Earl Strum, who will retire at the conclusion of this season. Under 7 minutes to go, first half. Long shot by Armstrong. Isaiah Thomas. John Sally. Trap on Jordan. Foul on Isaiah Thomas.
Well, certainly this was Phil Jackson's greatest fear, that the crowd would go into the...
Sally and Dumars for Detroit. 3 of 12 now. Here's Pippen adjusting his shot and getting it over Sally.
And that was a great offensive rebound and tip by Craig Hodges, who stuck his nose in there to get that shot for Scott Pippen.
Mark Aguirre from Isaiah Thomas. 9 years ago, the number 1 and 2 draft choices in the NBA. Aguirre, of course, taken by Dallas. There's Sally stripped to the ball. It'll be Detroit's ball. Phil Jackson trying to survive the first serious Detroit run of the game, 11-0.
And certainly he has the chance to really orchestrate his defense since it's in front of his bench.
Dumars tipped, Jordan has it. Dumars hurries from behind, and Jordan will slow it down. Isaiah Thomas guarding him now. Aguirre looking around for his man. It's Horace Grant underneath. Here's Pippen. Aguirre comes out. A lot of moves, and then passes it back to Cartwright. Matches, no. Isaiah Thomas with another rebound. He's got 7. Aguirre.
Pushing it up the floor like that keeps the Bulls retreating, and then patience to wait for the trailers like Mark Aguirre to come down the lane. They can walk to the basket.
Hodges, Chicago ball.
Very quick shot by Craig Hodges that time. I'm sure Phil Jackson would want some more floor balance. He would also want somebody available that gets the ball off the boards on the offensive end if possible. Bill Cartwright stays on the perimeter an awful lot. Ed Neely's more the kind of guy to go inside.
Neely has it blocked by Sally. Blocked again by Sally. This time count the basket. Well, in their loss here in Game 5, Chicago shot only 33%. They are shooting less than that right now. They are at 30%, 12 of 40. And Jackson said, we must shoot well. Thomas, 2 more.
Pretty close to 3 seconds, but you see where Isaiah Thomas is getting his shot now, where he has his confidence, and that's in the paint.
Isaiah Thomas with 10 points and 7 rebounds. Jordan. Pippen. Bulls are 1 of 6 from three-point range. 1 of 7. What's leading to this emphasis on perimeter shooting by Chicago?
Well, one of the problems is that Detroit is only giving up 1 shot. The sag.
31. Hodges for 3. It still won't go. They're 1 of 8. They were 7 of 10 at home on Friday night from three-point range.
Much better job of the Bulls in getting back in transition.
Aguirre. Loose ball, Aguirre again. Boy, when he gets in a groove, he is something to behold. He's got 10 points now. It is thought by most that Detroit has the stronger bench of the two. That was not the case on Friday night. It certainly is proving to be this afternoon. Bulls can't buy a basket. That includes Michael Jordan.
Well, certainly both coaches told us yesterday that they expect a different character to arise here. Someone who has to step up their game just a bit in order to take their team over the hump, and that person might be Mark Aguirre right now. He is for Detroit.
Aguirre, 5 of 6. Acquired last year from Dallas in the trade for Adrian Dantley, the much discussed trade. And another shot won't go. Aguirre with a rebound.
And you talk about the poor Chicago field goal shooting. Phil Jackson said that his team has poorer selection on the road. But he thought in the 7th game that they'd be over that. Obviously, they're not.
5 of 22 in this quarter. Isaiah Thomas adjusts the shot and draws the foul. Today, Jordan. Taken away by Rodman, playing the passing lane again. There's another steal. And that's 6 Chicago turnovers.
And certainly not a good pass by Michael Jordan. After going behind his back, he didn't even really look. He tried to look off the defender. But Rodman would not be denied there. He's not going for that kind of fake anymore.
Double team on Aguirre as Grant comes out. Sally with 1 second on the shot clock. Shot clock at 16. 21,500 on their feet to bring this game to a halftime. Davis. Got it. Rodman. That punctuates a pretty good period. As Detroit outscores Chicago by 17 points in quarter number 2.
Pacific Northwest, the Portland Trail Blazers are sitting back and waiting. They'll begin their war on Tuesday night. And joining us live now from Portland is the skipper of the Trail Blazers, Rick Adelman. And Rick, thanks for joining us. First of all, what about the rest? Is it good or bad for you guys?
Well, I think it's really good for us, Pat, because we had a hectic schedule for a month, and our guys needed a couple of days off, and we were able to do that for the last 2 days. And today we had a workout during the first half of that game, and now we're going home to watch the second half to see what's going to happen.
I was talking to Clyde Drexler the other night, and I said in the 9 years I've been covering basketball, nobody's ever answered this question. He didn't, so I'll ask you anyway. Who would you rather play, Chicago or Detroit?
Well, when you look at the two teams, there's really not much to choose from. You got the world champions who are very good at home, and then you got to play Michael Jordan, who can win a game by himself. Obviously, we rather have 4 games at home than 4 on the road, so I guess in that regard, you'd say Chicago, but the two teams are so similar, I don't think it matters to us. We're just glad to get through the Western Conference, and now we're getting ready for that.
Let me travel through the mists of time, by the way, and take you back to 1970. You were the captain of the very first Portland Trail Blazer team, and we're rolling up some video of there, a younger Rick Adelman. And what about that team? Did you ever have a dream that you'd be leading the team into the finals someday?
I didn't in 1970. I knew we weren't going to make it to the finals with that team, but I really did. This has really been a dream season. These players have worked so hard all year long, and we thought we had a chance to be good, but you got to give the players credit. They really worked hard to come together. With 6 new players to get to the championship this year has really been a great feat for us.
Well, well-deserved entry into the finals, Rick. And we all can't wait to get up there in Portland and see all the great fans there and see you. And we'll see you Tuesday night somewhere. I see you got the X's and O's, and you're ready to go. Thanks, Rick, for joining us on At the Half.
Okay, Pat, thank you.
When we come back here, we'll turn to our final.
Opens up the second half.
Well, certainly that's a good start, Vern. They have to start getting better execution offensively and eliminate the poor outside shooting.
Here's Michael Jordan after Isaiah Thomas misses with the jumper. It's Pippen, Hodges, that's the 3. And those that were falling the other night are bouncing off the front of the rim this afternoon.
Well, still, that's too quick a shot. They have to slow the pace and try to explore their inside game. That'll open it up for the outside shot.
Laimbeer and Edwards. And here is James Edwards traveling. Michael Jordan averaging 32 points in this series. In the first half thus far, 12 points per game. But he's picked it up in the second half with 20. He had 18 in the third quarter of the game in Chicago, won by the Bulls on Friday night. They'll need those 18 plus if they're going to get back in this one. Horace Grant, no. Rebound, Laimbeer.
Well, the intent was what I mentioned, that they have to start exploring inside, moving the ball, and try to see if their big people can get positions, but they have to connect with the shot.
There's the patented pick and spot up with Laimbeer and Isaiah Thomas, and Jordan draws the foul.
Well, you see defensively, the Bulls are trying to get after it. Dumars gets the ball, and Jordan comes flying out after him. That's the intensity they require defensively if they're going to get back in it. It's much of the same what Detroit did in the second quarter. They shot 82%, 14 of 17 in the second quarter. Most of those layups off the turnovers and missed shots by Chicago.
Thomas to Rodman. And it's back to a 15-point margin. Jordan kicks it out to Hodges. Taken away by Isaiah Thomas.
Frankly, Vern, with Paxson out of the game, his absence really looms large. Hodges not able to hit the shot. That's his role. Paxson would have some better...
Basket underneath off the pass to Thomas.
He'd have some better luck, I believe, in handling the ball, freeing Michael Jordan up to use the whole floor rather than having to bring the ball up court and start the offense.
Just to complete that thought on home court advantage, the last team to win a Game 7 on the road, the 76ers in 1982. Here's Hodges, who is now 1 of 8. 1 of 8 from three-point range. He was 4 of 4 the other night. Well, he's a streak shooter, as Phil Jackson said, but he's in a bad streak right now. Isaiah Thomas. Timeout, Chicago. Chuck Daly likes what he's seen in the first part of the second half.
On the pick. Poor defensive intensity there by Craig Hodges, who once he is picked off, had to take the roll man on the switch.
And if the Pistons hang on to win this game, they will open the NBA playoffs at home against Portland at 9 o'clock Eastern time. If Chicago makes a marvelous comeback and wins the game, then the series would open in Portland on Tuesday night. The Trail Blazers are ready. They have scheduled a departure in their private plane 2 hours after the conclusion of this game if Detroit wins. They'll be in here tonight around 1 o'clock Eastern time. The Trail Blazers and the Pistons, two of the NBA teams that do fly chartered aircraft. Here's Michael Jordan from the baseline.
And when we talked about getting Michael Jordan at different parts of the floor to utilize his attack from those areas, you need someone who's going to be able to start the play. Craig Hodges' job is to do that.
Isaiah Thomas, back to Lambier. Right now, let's check in with Pat O'Brien. Pat?
Vernon, the last time out the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan had his own team meeting on the floor. The coaches had their own meeting, 2 separate meetings. Jordan saying, hey, we are not out of this thing yet. I've never seen him so animated in a huddle. Back to you guys.
All right, Pat, he may have memories of the Detroit comeback back in Chicago when they were down by 19 and cut it to 3 on Memorial Day weekend. Now, they wound up losing that game, but they got right back in it. Here's Isaiah Thomas.
And if they're going to get back in it, it's on the defensive side of the floor. But the Pistons have the feeling right now they've generated an outside game.
Shot too strong off the glass, another Piston rebound. It's Hodges, Cartwright, Grant, Pippen, and Jordan for Chicago. Isaiah Thomas for 3! Pippen chases down the long rebound. Jordan goes by Dumars and Rodman. Dennis Rodman got him with a knee in the thigh. But the lead is 20. It was a 23-6 run early in the second quarter to the end of the half that gave the Pistons this cushion. Isaiah Thomas. Buzzer went off, but the shot was released before the 24-second clock. Pippen is 1 of 5 from the field. 1 of 6. Grant is 2 of 11, 2 of 12. And the putback is good. The shots just will not fall for Chicago.
But they're not giving up. You see them again scraping the boards. That time, better floor balance. 2-3 guys on the offensive boards. They need that. Otherwise, the Pistons come off with the after the quick shot with the rebound, and they're off to the races again in transition. But when you send 3, 4, 5 guys to the board, you're leaving yourself wide open for a layup.
Horace Grant shoots 2. With 20 points now, he's almost at the point where he's got to take it upon himself, doesn't he?
Well, he does, but what he is doing right now is recognizing when he's doubled and tripled, and he still has enough confidence in his teammates to hit them. Bill Cartwright with a nice job, like on the baseline.
In this period, Chicago 6 of 13. Chuck Daly senses a little bit of a trend he doesn't like. So he calls timeout with 5:12 to go. Detroit still up 63-44.
The star players usually rise to the occasion. It's a big, big game. And as you can see with some of the Bulls players right now, they really don't want to handle the pressure of a 7 game. They really are. And Detroit's really playing well. But I think the key is Isaiah's really got them going, got them sparked. And the bench, Mark Aguirre and John Salley, really played well for them.
We heard you're taking Isaiah to dinner for congratulations. Is that true?
Oh, yeah, yeah. If he come out with this victory, I definitely will. You know, it's just he's a great competitor, and he sparked the Pistons to their lead right now.
Great. Thank you, Magic. Back to you, Vern.
All right, Magic, I think back to what Pat O'Brien said at the beginning of the telecast, Lenny, when he talked to Isaiah this morning. He said, they've got the hunger, they meaning Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, but we've got the wisdom. We've been here before.
Well, certainly that makes the difference, but you don't want to put all the pressure, if you're one of the Bulls, on your teammate Michael Jordan. You've got to share some of that. And when you have a superstar who can carry you, he'll do it in spurts, but you have to win as a team.
22-point lead has been cut down to 14 now, 63-49. And a foul called underneath the basket. John Sally's getting ready to come back in. James Edwards will get a rest. Foul was on Michael Jordan. That's his second non-shooting foul. Isaiah Thomas, Dennis Rodman, Laimbeer. They'll do an isolation play now. Rodman, little pick and roll. There's the roll. They settle for Laimbeer spotting up and then find Dumars in the corner. It worked perfectly except for the shot that did not go in. 63-49, a chance to get now within 12. Here's Jordan. He finds Horace Grant underneath, and Grant can't buy a bucket.
Well, that's when you have to stick your nose in there and draw the foul. Grant decided to fade away. Got a little cute with it. This is the 7th game. You got to lay everything out there.
Goes back to what perhaps Magic Johnson was just talking about. Horace Grant now 2 of 12 from the field. Rodman pick and roll again. This time Hodges stays with Rodman and the switch. Isaiah Thomas, no. Jordan with the rebound. 3:50 to go, third quarter. Hodges for 3. Oh boy, big basket for the Bulls. That's his second of the ball game from 3-point range.
Well, the Bulls with pressure right now, but they've started to do what they need to. They slowed the pace. They've executed. You don't need an awful lot of execution. A pick here, a pick there to change the defense. Make them move a bit, and you'll find an opening.
Just sense the Bulls working on defense a little harder. Offensive foul called. And now the Chicago team, which trailed 61-39 and is on a 13-2 run, can get it to a single-digit margin. Pippen penetrates, kicks out to Hodges. 3 points. No, sir. Rodman with a rebound. Well, Chuck Daly sensed it a moment ago. The crowd's getting restless now. Dumars, Isaiah Thomas. Laimbeer is fouled by Craig Hodges. That's his third. Rodman will inbound. 15-point halftime margin. The winner gets Portland. The NBA Finals begin Tuesday night on CBS at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Trailblazers with a wonderful season. They tied Detroit for the second-best regular season record in the league. Dumars, look at the defensive job Jordan's doing. Look at him go to the baseline, but there is a foul.
Certainly spreading the floor and then penetrating has allowed the Piston guards to find a lot of cutters going to the basket. That's what they want to do now. Knowing the Bulls have to extend their defense and put some pressure on them, the Pistons are trying to use that aggressiveness against the Bulls.
Foul was called on Horace Grant, not on Michael Jordan. Sally gets the roll. Coming up next, final round of the Kemper Open from Washington, D.C. Steve Jones had the lead going into the final round. That's coming up next at the conclusion of our game. Steve Jones now at 12 under par. Started the day at -11. And lane violation. Even though Sally missed it, he gets another chance.
That's got to break your heart if you're the coach, and we saw Phil Jackson without a happy look on his face.
Again. 64-52.
Chuck Daly's time to have a broken heart.
Michael Jordan, 20 points in the ball game. Scottie Pippen. 9 on the shot clock. Dennis Rodman shadows Pippen on the baseline. The ball almost stolen. Hodges is going to have to throw this one up. He does. That almost went in. Cartwright with the follow, rejected by John Sally. Here's Thomas at the other end. Blocked by Hodges. Foul on Hodges.
Well, when the Bulls look back on this game, and in the event that they lose, there are certain points of it that they can certainly say that they gave the effort. Craig Hodges had saved that ball and allowed Bill Cartwright with that opportunity. Then he hustles back and makes a pretty good play. He gets a piece of Isaiah Thomas's arm. But you need those kinds of plays, and you hope that that kind of effort instills the desire in your teammates to present that same kind of effort.
Stacey King replaces Craig Hodges, who has to sit down now with his 4th foul of the ball game. Isaiah Thomas, 1 of 2. The lead is back to 13. It was at 22 early in this half. The lead was 15, Detroit at halftime. Michael Jordan, Joe Dumars. Stripped by Dumars and Sally, and a foul call.
You can almost understand the crowd. You certainly can't play defense any better than Joe Dumars played at that particular point.
100th consecutive sellout crowd. They've only played 100 games in the Palace at Auburn Hills, where the defending world champions are playing their first 7th game of the series in the NBA playoffs at home. Michael Jordan gets the first free throw. And the Pistons are up 65-53 right now. Winner gets Portland in the NBA Finals. Vern Lundquist, Len Elmore, Leslie Visser, and Pat O'Brien here. Sally will inbound. Here's the track.
Well, the last play that put Michael Jordan on the line, you talk about excellent defense. That looked like a pretty good play there by Joe Dumars.
Sure did.
Certainly shadowed Michael Jordan, didn't allow him to turn the corner.
That was Dumars' first foul of the game, by the way. 1:38 remaining. B.J. Armstrong on now, late getting the Lambier, who hits the shot, and they have the mismatch down on the baseline.
And what the Pistons are doing is they're exploring and then backing out once the Bulls start rotating defensively and finding the mismatches.
Inside, Stacey King will shoot a couple after the pass from Michael Jordan. John Sally with the foul. King's playing minutes have diminished as this series has gone from 4 to 5 to 6 and now to 7 games.
Well, Michael Jordan at the top is able to survey the court completely. And he's almost as valuable passing as he is scoring. Those are the types of things that the great point guards like Magic Johnson, Kevin Johnson, John Stockton, they see those things. Michael Jordan has the ability to see that from any part of the floor as well.
Jordan thinks about a 3, but Vinnie Johnson comes out. Johnson on the court now for Detroit. Underneath, there's the thing he sees right there. Perfect example.
Well, working at the top, again, makes the teams defensively, like the Pistons, focus on Michael Jordan, but they don't have help side. So there are little holes, little seams in the type of defense that they play.
Again, the Bulls go to the trapping defense. Back to Vinnie Johnson. 0 for 10 the other night, doesn't get that shot to fall. He's struggling right now. Loose ball, kicked way down at the other end.
You got to get down on the floor for those balls. You're going to get a backache bending over. This is the 7th game of a series. Again, Michael Jordan from another angle on the penetration and the dish, and you see how much attention he draws when he's out at the top of the floor. There's no help side to stand and cover 2 guys.
Final 41 seconds, quarter number 3. The Pistons were up by 22 at 61-39. The Bulls have cut that margin to 10. Edwards dunks the ball. Jordan the King. And again, Stacey King will shoot free throws. Edwards can't believe it.
Pistons certainly have to be disappointed. Again, they play great defense on Michael Jordan. He gets up in the air, Jordan does. He really doesn't have any place to go with it. He finally finds a man, but what happens is on good defensive positioning, James Edwards is called for a foul because of the contact.
Two coaches eye each other and eye the court. Mark McGuire had a big first half. hitting 5 of 6. Ed Neely's going to come back on the court now for Phil Jackson's team. Jordan's second rest of the game. He sat out the final 156 at quarter number 1. 10-point margin, 59-69. Detroit on top. They're led by 15 at the half, using a 23-6 explosion in the second quarter. Here's Edwards. Trapped by Neely. Double team. Leaves Sally open. Rodman for the rebound, but it's on the floor. And the quarter ends.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the third quarter.
Well, the Bulls cut 5 from the margin. That's the end of the third period with our...
Amazing with the type of pressure B.J. Armstrong places on him. He's still able to look up court and find the open man running at about full speed. That's something for a lot of young people to keep an eye on. Isaiah Thomas is continually looking up court even though he's handling the ball.
19 points for Isaiah Thomas. Here's Aguirre, who's come in the fourth quarter, and Mark Aguirre now has 12 points off the bench. Gets the feed from Vinnie Johnson, who's also on the floor.
Well, the Pistons have seen that pressure enough during this series to be able to break it in that fashion.
Sally, Aguirre, Rodman, Thomas, and Johnson. So the 6, 7, and 8 men are on the court now for the Detroit Pistons. One of the better benches in the league. 16 fast break points now for Detroit. Michael Jordan is back in. He rested a total of 26 seconds. There's a steal by Scottie Pippen. Not that many turnovers in the ball game. Michael Jordan, no. Rodman gets the rebound. Aguirre. King and Aguirre. Jordan on Johnson, who finds Dennis Rodman.
Total lack of communication by the Bulls inside. 2 men running at the ball handler, leaving Rodman alone underneath. Got to minimize those mistakes, and on the other end, capitalize on the layups, which the Bulls have missed.
This is what Chuck Daly wanted. The first 4 points of the quarter belonged to Detroit, and now Jordan posts up and gets 2 more. He's got 24.
Laverne with 10 minutes and about 15 seconds left. A 12-point lead isn't insurmountable, particularly for the Bulls. They're almost where they'd like to be within shooting distance. The only problem is they still haven't developed that ability on offense to get the ball where they want.
Thomas does a great job with the pump fake, and B.J. Armstrong. That's his third. So Isaiah Thomas goes to the line. I was mentioning a while ago now, Aguirre and Thomas both on the court. The number 1 and 2 draft choices 9 years ago. It was thought by many that Dallas, who had the first pick that year, was going to take this man. They flew him into Dallas, had 15 or 16 mini cams, it seemed like. Everybody was going live at 5, and there was a great to-do. And then all of a sudden, after Isaiah had gone back home, Mark Aguirre came in, had a private chat with the owner, Don Carter. Aguirre, of course, had a troubled reputation as a bit of a difficult man, and Carter was convinced he could turn the franchise around. So Carter and the Mavericks drafted Aguirre. Detroit got Thomas, and now look, they're reunited.
And the Bulls wanted to get the ball to Jordan on the post. He was forced to come outside and get it.
Kicked out, and time has been called.
Now, because their season's dwindling down.
Jordan now has Vinnie Johnson guarding him. B.J. Armstrong, nope. Loose ball, John Sally. Isaiah Thomas looks for Aguirre. Aguirre 6 of 7. Works on Horace Grant. Fade away. Nope. But look at here. Rodman clears it out for the Pistons.
Well, the Rodman-Pippen matchup, Scottie Pippen is really no match for Dennis Rodman underneath. Not accustomed to being under there for such long periods of time. Rodman gets great positions. That's what I mean by giving away opportunities. They can't afford to give up second and third shots to this Piston team at this time.
Rodman with a screen on Jordan, and Thomas takes the shot, which will be Chicago's. This is a Detroit team that lost handily to Chicago on Friday night. That had even more problems. We said they fly a private plane. There's B.J. Armstrong at the other end. Nope. Mark Aguirre for Detroit. When they went to the airport to get on their private plane to come home, a fuel truck backed into the nose of it. $25,000 damage. They didn't get home till 2:30 in the morning. Here's Johnson. He's all right. The plane's all right. If they win, they'll use it in the NBA Finals.
You got to wonder if the driver of that truck took his Bulls hat off before they realized what was going on.
Bill Jackson's team led by 2 at the end of 1. Low-scoring game, 19-17 then. But a 23-6 explosion ignited in part by that man, Mark Aguirre, who had 10. Gave Detroit a 15-point halftime lead. Pippen. Chicago now hitting 22 of 72, 31% for the game, as befitting the defensive effort by perhaps the best defensive team in the league. There's a double strip at the other end. 7:48 remaining. Craig Hodges playing with 4 fouls, comes in for B.J. Armstrong, and Ed Neely is going to check in and give Stacey King a rest.
6 seconds on the shot clock.
Sally, 2 seconds on the shot clock. Offensive foul is called on John Sally. That's his second.
Well, the Pistons are certainly leaving openings right now.
Another great pass from Jordan to Neely. And foul before the shot, I think. Yep, before the shot. 100th consecutive sellout in this gorgeous basketball facility in Auburn Hills, Michigan, some 30 miles north of downtown Detroit, where the Pistons playing their first game number 7 at home. Michael Jordan count the basket, and he will shoot a free throw.
Well, I mentioned before, the Pistons haven't slammed the door completely. Their turnovers on the other end are adding opportunities for the Bulls. Here, Michael Jordan takes advantage of it. Again, getting pushed off the block where he'd rather be. But this time, he takes the whole interior defense of the Pistons to the basket. Another look, the same thing. It's more quickness than anything else. But those are the things that they have to do. Take the ball into the paint. They can't rely on the perimeter shots anymore.
77-64, the lead 13. Bulls chipped 5 from that margin in the third quarter play. They fell behind by as many as 22, 61-39. And trailed at the end of 3, 69-59. Rodman. Limping as he heads back down the court. Grant. Horace Grant gets his 3rd basket from the field in the ball game. And it's an 11-point margin with 6:50 to go. Johnson, Sally, Rodman, who's limping, Dumars, and Chuck Daly wants to talk about it. 6:46 to go in Game 7, the Eastern Conference against Philadelphia in round number 2. And in this series, his average has dropped to 32 points per game. So there are reasons why they are acknowledged as the best. The Jordan Report, he has been fouled 6 times today. They have made contact with him 26. He's been picked 5 times, knocked down 3, has had to change directions 8, and we'll see if he can go 12 rounds.
Well, certainly that's taken a lot out of him, but I guarantee you that his teammates are going to jump on his back. He'll see the ball down court every single time when they're on offense, unless there's an easy layup.
77-66, Vinnie Johnson, Mark Aguirre. Here's Johnson spinning. Dumars. Joe Dumars has had a very quiet offensive game today.
And that's where Michael Jordan's fatigue may show. Joe Dumars now going to the offensive boards. That's one place where Michael Jordan would like to rest a little bit.
Pippen and Aguirre battling for position. Aguirre gets it. Grant comes with a double team. The kick pass to Rodman off the glass and good.
Pistons doing a nice job of working their offense. They're executing the way they have to down the stretch to keep this lead.
Jordan fakes left, goes right to the baseline, misses the shot. Hodges saves it. Pippen spots up for three, passes on the shot, and comes inside. Grant with the putback. Another offensive rebound. Neely back to Jordan with a fresh 24.
You're looking at a team right now fighting for their lives, and they're scratching and clawing.
Michael Jordan with 27. He's hitting 50%, 11 of 22. They just, the Bulls, that is, have not been able to get the margin of difference into single digits. Johnson, near air ball. Rodman pleading the case that the ball was off Neely, and he pleaded well. Well, how about the argumentative powers of Dennis Rodman?
Actually, knowing the officials to whom he was making the argument, he just made a mistake and pointed in the wrong direction, because those are arguments that you don't win with Earl Strom.
Rodman playing with that bad left ankle. 5:13 to go in the ball game. Thomas, Lambier. And he'll shoot another.
Those two guys that just come into the ball game, playing a little two-man basketball with the clear out to Isaiah Thomas. The Bulls defense, Scottie Pippen, has to come over to cut off the drive. And once he comes over, his man follows him right underneath the basket. Anytime there's a double team, that's where you go. And if you have a guy like Isaiah Thomas, he's going to find you.
To go. Lead back to 14. Dumars and Jordan. More magic from Michael. And the lead is 12.
Phil Jackson's calling his team up, asking him to pressure.
Isaiah Thomas with 7 assists to go with 7 rebounds and 21 points. Has the ball now. Jordan out on him. Thomas drives left and Jordan strips the ball. But Sally gets it back and puts it in.
Again, it's the dirty work. No one getting on the floor for the loose ball. Detroit wants it more at this point.
Neely. Pippen passes inside. Lambier knocks it away. 4:10 to go. That has them on their feet everywhere except the Bulls bench. Maguire, Lambier. Dennis Rodman working on that ankle behind the Piston bench. Phil Jackson completing his first year as the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. His team trails 3:52 to go in the ball game. And the lead is 15, just as it was at halftime. The lead at 16. Armstrong, Grant, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Craig Hodges for the Bulls. Chuck Daly counters with Mark Aguirre, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Lambier, and John Sally. Isolation play for Jordan. And Isaiah Thomas ties him up.
Defensively, the Pistons are now pointing totally at Michael Jordan. They don't believe that any of the other 4 Bulls can hurt them at this point with this much time left. So anytime he turns his back or is away from the ball, you're going to find another Piston in his face. We take a look now on a clear out. Michael Jordan appears to have Joe Dumars beat. But Isaiah Thomas totally leads B.J. Armstrong, recognizing that Michael Jordan may try to do it on his own. And they play right into the Pistons' hands.
Ball was tipped out of bounds after the jump ball. Back to Hodges. Spots up for the three, and it rims out. Greg Hodges is 2 of 12 from three-point range, which equals what he had accomplished in the first 5 games of this series, 2 of 12. He was 4 for 4 in the Chicago win the other night. And it'll be Detroit to put it in bounds. If I have to pick one key play, and that's impossible in basketball, I'll go back to Isaiah Thomas in that first quarter of play. Detroit had just taken the lead, and he blocked a Michael Jordan jump shot. Rodman got the loose ball. Dumars on the fast break at the other end, and since they took that three-point edge, Detroit has, for the most part, been in control of this ball game.
And certainly plays like that, the ability to penetrate and find people, more so than scoring. Isaiah Thomas has been the leader of this team for so many years, and despite all the rumors to the contrary, this will go a long way in reestablishing his preeminence, not only in the league, but on his team, among his teammates.
Jordan chases it down and tries to find Scottie Pippen, who had left. Here's Isaiah.
The plays of the Bulls right now are plays of desperation. You know, they have already sensed this slipping away, and guys are trying to do more than they're capable of doing, and that includes Michael Jordan.
They're packing their bags in Portland. The lead is 20, and Mark Aguirre is back at the line. .91-70. I'll go back to what Phil Jackson said yesterday. We've got to get 95 at least to win. Anything below that, we've got no chance. Aguirre with a rebound. Aguirre with 9 rebounds and 15 points off the bench. Big effort. Joining his high school friend from Chicago, Isaiah Thomas, on that assist, and Magic Johnson is here to appreciate all this. He's the third close friend in that bunch. Timeout, Bulls, with 2:03 to go.
As he licks his lips in anticipation, telling John Salley it's time for you to take off from the backdoor situation. No words spoken. These guys recognize what it takes to win.
Over the course of the year, the two teams, Detroit and Portland, have met 2 times. They've split the season series. Check that next line. Detroit has lost 20 straight games at Portland, and that list goes all the way back to 1974. Both teams 59 and 23 this year. The tiebreaker is the fact the Pistons had a better conference record. Thus, Detroit gets the home court advantage, and they will open the finals here on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. And don't forget the format for the NBA Finals now: 2 games in Detroit, then 3 in Portland, and back here for the final 2 if necessary. 2:03 to go. Charles Davis in. Horace Grant, Ed Neely, Michael Jordan. Not there from the corner.
Under 2 minutes to play.
That's the 3. Nope. Davis gets 2. At the conclusion of our game, Lenny Elmore and I will select the Miller Lite Player of the Game. In conjunction with the award, Light Beer presents a check in the amount of $1,000 in the player's name to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Well, more teams in the NBA may be going to private aircraft. The 2 teams in the finals both fly on charters. As a matter of fact, Steve Jones, a friend of ours who used to play for Portland and does their radio commentary and some television work, there's Armstrong for 2 points, said that he thinks the acquisition of that private plane, Lenny, was one of the most important things in Portland's successful season.
Well, certainly, in speaking to people around the league, they attest to the fact that in games, back-to-back game situations, you can pick up 5 or 6 wins by being able to get to a town early enough to get your players rested.
All you got to do is keep fuel truck drivers from backing into the nose of your airplane. Final minute, Mark Aguirre. Travel. Earl Strom tagged him with a travel while he was looking back at Michael Jordan. Laimbeer out. Thomas out.
Well, the Pistons have moved on, but you really got to feel for this man right here. I mean, playing his heart out, but he recognizes that his team, even though it's one game better, they took the Pistons to a 7th game this year, they still didn't bridge that gap. And that is putting them in the upper echelon of teams that wind up playing at the end of the season. You know, they've bounced back a lot during this series. Usually the Pistons have you down, they grab you by the throat. But this time, in this game, the Pistons didn't let go, and the Bulls just couldn't wriggle out of it.
With the shot clock down to 1, Mark Aguirre brings it back outside. Well, Phil Jackson said yes, this will be considered a successful season for the Bulls. They went 1 game farther. For the Pistons, nothing but another world championship will do. And they, the Detroit Pistons, will meet the Portland Trail Blazers in the best of 7 beginning Tuesday night on CBS. This stifling Detroit Piston defense holds the Chicago Bulls to 28 of 90, 31%. But Michael Jordan had 31, and he's with Pat O'Brien.
Right. Vern, Michael Jordan here in the midst of the celebration. What are you saying to the other players, Mike?
All you can do is wish them good luck. I mean, you know, we fought hard. You know, they were the better team. We went to a 7-game series. What more can we ask for? You know, we want to be where they are, but we still got to wait our turn. We're still trying to improve our team. They were the better team, and they played better today.
What's your emotion now, Michael? Sadness, frustration?
You know, sadly, I'm disappointed, you know, because I wanted to go further. But I got to accept the season that we played. We had a good season. We got this far. We got to look forward to next season. That's the only thing we can do.
Gave it a hell of a run.
Thank you.
Vern?
Indeed he did. 31 points to lead the Bulls. That's just 1 below his series average. And in the locker room, Mark Aguirre. Bill Laimbeer. And our Miller Lite player of the game, Isaiah Thomas, tonight with 21 points, 7 of 17. He had
CBS Sports coverage of the National Bank.